Hey guys, welcome to the third episode of Love, Food and Fitness. So my guest today, Kaaveri, is not just shining example of courage, but is also my beloved niece.
I think school was sort of a mixed bag for me. There were a lot of happy moments, but there was a lot of questioning. My acne started off very early on, in the second or third standard. And my period also came much earlier than normal. So I think I was either in the fifth or the fourth standard. I was much heavier than what, a kid my age would be. People in school who have this tendency to sort of pick on people. I don't know, maybe insecurity in them, their own selves. But if somebody would come up to me and say, "Oh my God, you have so much acne on your face," I would never just look them in the face and go, "So, our family has a genetic lineage of migraines." I used to have bad migraines. My mother, the ma would just say, "So jao." I did not realize that this was a consequence of some disorder or disease per se. I always thought that this was probably just something I was given from God as a punishment. After my 11th, because I couldn't give the exams, I was diagnosed with PCOS. I got to know this later, that your daughter is suffering from depression. I just didn't have any urge or any liking to study. Couple of things that what really helped me definitely be some form of physical exercise.
Hey guys, welcome to the third episode of Love, Food and Fitness. We all have our unique journeys in our life, but sharing our thoughts, our worries and experiences makes this path a little bit less complicated and a lot more enjoyable actually. Our podcast is all about connecting with people from different walks of life, learning from their struggles, celebrating their victories, and taking insights from their journey which help us lead a better life. So, here am I again, your host Archana Kumar, and today's episode truly echoes with the theme of our show. So, naming it Navigating PCOS Through Love, Food, and Fitness. My guest today is a young, vibrant girl who has bravely faced anxiety, depression, weight gain, PCOS, and so much more. Her strength and resilience have been nothing short of, of an inspiration that I may say truly. And this podcast, especially this episode, is why it's close to me, is because my guest today, Kaaveri, is not just shining example of courage, but is also my beloved niece. I've watched her grow literally when she came into my arms, and through her grace and determination, she's handled all these things so beautifully that I'm so glad that she's today here with me, sharing her journey with all of us. Thank you, Kaaveri, for being here. Thank you, Kavu, for being here and sharing your journey with all of us.
Thank you. And I'm absolutely grateful and glad that I can sit here with you today and have this conversation.
Thank you, Baba. So I think let's start from the very beginning, from your school years. What do you recall? What was going wrong and what did you face in those years?
I think school was sort of a mixed bag for me. And I think you know this because you were a part of a majority of that journey. So school had many elements for me. There were a lot of happy moments, but there was a lot of questioning. There was a lot of, nitpicking on my self-image. And I think children at that age, at some point, they are mean without meaning to or realizing the kind of impact they're having.
Yeah.
They end up saying things, but then those things stick around. So something as simple as, my acne started off very early on when I was probably in the second or third standard. So that's a very early age for acne to start. And my period also came much earlier than normal. So I think I was either in the fifth or the fourth standard. So all of that, and then I was also a certain weight. Now, my diet at home was relatively strict. But still, I think because I love food and I would love to indulge in food, I was much heavier than what a kid my age would be, a healthy kid my age would be. So smaller things, there was a lot of picking on, there was a lot of teasing on, and I think these things stick with you. A lot of these things stick with you as you grow old. Obviously, I've made some beautiful memories and I have some beautiful moments with school.
Yeah.
But when I look back, I do realize how, these spaces of questioning and teasing actually shaped the kind of thought process that did really weigh heavy on me in the coming years.
Was it coming directly at you, or like that particular group of people were like actually the classmates the peers were like that only in general?
So, there was always a group of people in school who have this tendency to sort of pick on people, right?
Yeah.
And I know it was coming from a space of I don't know, maybe insecurity in them, their own selves, or a certain level of trying to establish a certain power or authority amongst their own
it comes
friends.
from there actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
But for me, I don't know what it was. I know that I looked different because of my acne and a lot of other symptoms that were already showing from a very early age. But again, I think I was also one of the people who didn't know what to say back. I would always start explaining that if somebody would come up to me and say, "Oh my God, you have so much acne on your face," I'm like, "No, you know, it's a medical problem." And I would never just look them in the face and go, "So." You know, you already felt so low about certain things, and then somebody probably putting you down further just made it worse. So then you didn't know how to revert in a way that actually restored your confidence. You just kept battering yourself down even lower. So I think that's what it was for me, honestly.
Okay, so when did you know that you probably had PCOS, or what was the journey till the time you actually come to know that it was PCOS, and how did you actually discover it?
So
Were the
funny.
symptoms? Sorry, I mean to
No,
ask
no.
is, are there any symptoms or anything in particular that made you realize that there's something different that is happening, and that you kind of went to the doctor and the doctor told you it's PCOS? How do you kind of reach to that conclusion?
So, it's funny story, but you would know this because our family has a genetic lineage of migraines.
Oh yes,
So
yes.
we have very, very bad
Yeah.
migraines. I know we've dealt with them. I know Nani has them, and my mother also had them. Very
Absolutely.
bad. So I also picked on that. That was one of the other symptoms that I picked on very early on. I used to have bad migraines, and at that time we didn't know what to do. So my mother, the ma would just say, "So jao, just go to sleep."
Yeah.
Because how many medicines will you give a child? I mean, I used to have recurring migraines.
How old were you at that point of time?
So migraines started early on. Migraines would have started when I would have been what, 7th standard. It would have started by then. So must have been about 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Um, and they used to be bad. So I used to I couldn't function. I didn't want to eat. You know how it is. I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
And you've seen me through it. So you know it. But I think what happened was that all these symptoms building up, I never knew. So something as simple as I had a lot of body hair and I was very ashamed of it. I would sit outside my PT class and I would get a note every day from Ma saying that, she's hurt this leg, she's got this stomach infection, because I didn't want to wear shorts. Because I was that scared of what would people say. So I used to sit outside, and my
mother used to make excuses.
Mama didn't make excuses. I think she didn't realize what was happening then. She thought that maybe she doesn't want to. Although I was very active and I used to play basketball.
That's what I remember. I used to play basketball.
Yeah. So for some reason, basketball, I think the people around, I never had that. But when I had PE classes, physical education classes during school hours, there was so many people just around you. You would automatically just feel very conscious. So I had this thing, and I remember my teacher then had also put a star in front of my name, and I said, "So why have you put the star?" He said, "These are for the special people who've not once got down and played." And I remember that, though I loved it. So this happened also after an age when I think about maybe 9th is when this consciousness grew in, because I was also facing that space of that was the time when everybody also started to get waxed, or started to all so and Ma had not yet permitted me, so I was probably the odd one out, so I would feel even more conscious about it first. So everybody would be all right with it because everybody was probably in the same race as I was. Coming back to your question about PCOS, so all these symptoms just kept building up, and I did not realize that this was a consequence of some disorder or disease per se. I always thought that this was probably just something I was just given from God as a punishment. And 11th, I was moving up to my final exams, and I think I just had a migraine every day. Just every day, it never went away.
Oh my God.
Every single day, I just had, and just kept getting worse and worse. Now I was an already anxious student because of when you're sort of teased or picked on your physical attributes. Sometimes you try to overcompensate by probably being good at studies or probably being good in something else. And for me, academics came naturally. I was a very, very good student. And I used to excel very easily in my work. But little did people know how much anxiety would go behind actually trying to excel. So I was growing up as a very anxious child, also somewhere because I had an elder brother, Keshav, And Keshav was again a brilliant student. All my teachers knew him. He also used to excel. So for me, that was also somewhere, although I don't think, overtly Mapa had ever said that, oh, Keshav has done this, or you also have to do this. But I knew somewhere that existence of that pressure was there.
Expectations were there.
Yeah, it was there. So that was something that was there. So I think when I was coming closer to 11th, my finals, my migraine just got worse. That time there wasn't stress, but exams ka thoda bahut there was stress, but it just kept building up, kept building up, kept building up every day, every day, every day, every day, to the extent which I could not give my exams. I had to be admitted to the hospital because the doctors could not understand that what is the reason. And my doctor at that time, my neurosurgeon, he was a very, very kind doctor, and he admitted me and he said, okay, we'll check, we'll see. And I couldn't give my 11th finals. So what happened post that was an entire journey of trying to diagnose what is causing the migraine, because nobody could understand, itna ganda, such a severe bout of migraine. It's chronic migraine. It just goes on for days. It doesn't end. It's so troubling. It's just so invasive into your daily life that you don't know what's happening.
Of course.
One such homeopathic doctor recommended that I get a cervical X-ray done. Now, when I got this cervical X-ray done, the examiner who takes this, who does this, who sits at the machine, he sort of just walked in and he was like, "You don't seem to have cervical. Why are you here?" I said, "No, I've been having very, very severe migraine, and my homeopathic doctor just asked me to, get tested because we're not able to find the cause."
Your homeopathic doctor?
Yeah, my homeopathic doctor recommended, and I just looked at him very blankly, not understanding what he's trying to do, because he was just looking at me for 2 minutes. And immediately he said, "I think you have PCOS." I said, "I'm sorry." And at that moment...
So you want to say a lab attendant told you?
Yeah, a lab attendant, that's the word. So, and I was just looking at him and I said, because I hadn't heard the word at that time. I was in 11th.
Yeah, it's something new that we hear these days more often than we ever had. Yes, I agree.
So I had not heard the word, and I looked at him and I said, "Sorry, I didn't understand." He said, "No, see, you have a lot of hair on your face, your skin color is darker." And he just looked at me and he started asking me a couple of questions. He said, "Where does this migraine happen? Does it come often when you're about to get your period?" I said, "Yes, that happens sometimes." And he said, "Okay, and has this discoloration always been there? Do you have a lot of pain when you menstruate?" And so then he said, "I'm giving you this gynecologist number. Please go to her." After I got my test done, and then I went to the gynecologist. So one, I had insulin resistance, and two, I had severe PCOS. So Polycystic Ovary Syndrome, as you know it. And that's where the journey started of being diagnosed and then going to the gynecologist, and, the journey of trying to heal from there and trying to actually understand what is it and what consequences does it have, growing up or generally on life. So that's where it started for me.
So you mentioned the neurosurgeon in this conversation at the moment. So you went to neurologist and you went to psychiatrist maybe for migraine and all these things to help you combat problems and issues that you were facing?
So neurosurgeon I went to because of the migraine. So he knew.
Yeah.
And he did give me medicine. He did give me a round of medicine. Even after PCOS was diagnosed, I was on the migraine medicine. Because the migraine was very severe.
Yeah.
It had reached that point.
Yeah.
And now it had settled into the mind and it had settled into the body. So I used to go there. Now, psychiatrist is a different story. So after my 11th, because I couldn't give the exams, I was diagnosed with PCOS. And in that entire stress, I lost about 5 kilos. Just in that stress of that entire... Obviously, when you get admitted to the hospital, you become weak. I had already become weak because I didn't want to eat. I'd already just shed 5 kilos. I still remember. But what actually started after that was a big self-battle. Reason being because I wanted to go abroad to study. And that couldn't happen because now I didn't give my 11th final, so there are no 11th predicteds. So you don't have your predicteds, you don't have your, you can't go abroad.
So why couldn't you give your 11th finals? Because you were hospitalized due to migraine?
I was hospitalized, yeah. So all of that, it just led to finally the doctor said, let's just hospitalize her because I really need to get her under examination because this is getting quite stressful for her also. So my father put his foot down and said, it's okay, do not. And that was a big step for my parents because my parents are very, very, very particular about academics and, the entire education system. They're very particular that exams, if you have exams, you're focusing on that. You're working, you're studying, you're focusing on that. Nothing doing about anything else. So when I came out of this, now suddenly I didn't have a purpose. I didn't know what I was doing because I'm not going abroad. Now I didn't know what I wanted to do. And my mind suddenly shifted after that incident because now from being a student who was so particular about studies and academics and everything. Now I didn't feel like studying. I just didn't feel like, I just didn't have any motivation to study. And that's when during the 12th midterms, if I'm not wrong, my parents had gone for a wedding and my mother came back. And it had been, I think they'd gone for a week or a couple of days, and she'd come back. And there was this time when I didn't know what to do, and I just walked up to her and I said, Ma, something is wrong. And she's saying, I can sense it. And I said, no, something is really wrong. And she said, yeah, I know, I can tell. She said, do you want to visit your psychologist? So I was previously interning with the psychologist, and the family also knew her very well. She said, why don't we visit her once? And I remember that time when she sent me out of the room and she told my dad, and I got to know this later, that your daughter is suffering from depression and she needs medical help. So I had fallen deep into depression. And I personally, after years of now probably trying to understand and analyze what had happened then, a part of me knows that this loss of purpose was contributed to it. There was obviously other factors also, but this really contributed to it. Just suddenly losing purpose, losing sight of life. It almost felt like I don't know what to do, and what am I doing? Why am I studying? For what am I putting in so much effort? The exams. So that was where the psychiatrist came, where I had to take medication because it was that extent. So I had to take medication at this time. But yeah, that's where the role of the psychiatrist came in. But it was more work with the psychologist trying to understand and really dig deep into what is going on, which went for a long time.
Yeah, it's a big journey. It's not something that you visit a doctor and give the medicine and sort it. That doesn't happen.
Absolutely.
Mental problems take a longer time to resolve. Actually.
Yeah, and there's a lot of self-work. That's why it takes more time. It's not something that you can just be given medicine for and then you'll be okay.
But you've taken the first step. Acknowledging that you have a problem and seeking help is the first step. Is the biggest step actually. Some people not able to reach that step only. They don't realize what's going wrong with them.
Yeah, but I think for me, then that credit would go to my parents. That I still know that there are still families and there are still spaces where we don't speak about this very openly.
Yeah.
But for my mother herself to just walk up and sit me down and say, I know something is wrong, and we should visit the psychologist and we should go to her. And that's how it happened. Also, mind you, my parents didn't allow me to sit out these exams either. They said, it doesn't matter. You go, whatever it is, you give them. So it was the most humiliating process for me because I'm used to asking for 2 sheets in an examination hall where I couldn't fill 3 pages I could not fill because I just could not study. I just didn't have any urge or any liking to study.
This was 12th boards?
No, this was 12th midterms.
Midterms, okay.
So moving up to boards, then what happened was that now the fear had suddenly come in that what if I have to repeat the year? What if, and for a child who has excelled through school to come to the last stage and think that, oh my God, what if I cannot clear this and I have to repeat a year? I mean, how humiliating will that be? And I remember I was sitting across from my therapist and I said, I can't do this. I just can't do this. I just want to wake up and I want all this to go away. She said, okay, tell me something. You need 30% to pass. You study so that you get 40%. That's all you should do. She said, this is what she said, tumhe itna karna hai pass karne ke, do this much. This is how she spoke to me. And for some reason, that's when I realized my aim here is not to excel in these boards. My aim here, because there was so much going on in the background, was actually to just move out, just come out of this. And I ended up doing quite well in that moment. That fear all, I remember my mother just screaming and saying, oh my God, what's wrong with you? You know that moment. And Ma was just like, why were you so scared? So there were 2 major subjects that probably I somehow just took a step back from. One was biology, one was history, though I love both very dearly. But I had a strong affinity for psychology. So I was very easily able to understand and do that. Then there was maths. My tutor was fantastic. I loved studying maths. I still love maths. And English, I never had an issue with. I had a great acumen for it. So I was able to, do well at it even when I was not studying. So eventually I floated along. That is the main thing here. So that was my journey with sort of battling, which I think still went on beyond that also. Yeah. But it's something that it gives you a lot of self-understanding in that moment of about parts of your own self. You start discovering a lot. So that's what it was for me.
So what was, if I may ask, what was the final score in 12th then? After all this has happened?
I will tell you the funniest thing. I genuinely don't remember the exact score right now, if you're asking me. I think it was either it was 87
Wow.
or 88, something like that.
It was around that. I remember
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I
So,
remember
but
it.
no, you know,
But the
I
point
don't
is,
remember.
the point is where you were like 30% and 40%, and
Yeah,
here we're talking about
yeah.
87%. So
So that's what it was. I think, and then you realize that there's so much of self doubt that is just building up, building up, building up, building up, and it's very important to sometimes just close that book for some time. Just close that door. Just let the noise stay inside. It's and not infiltrate your entire body, because that's when acting becomes difficult. That's when you keep procrastinating. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Nahi hoga. Nahi hoga.
what were the steps you took to kind of avoid all these things? Because it's easier said than done that you close the door. Which door are you talking about? It's not a physical door.
No,
So
no.
what steps did you take to? I hear a lot about journaling. I hear a lot about talking to people.
Hmm.
So what steps that benefited you in kind of controlling your own self-developed fears and anxiety? What were the steps that were there any specific thing that helped you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I link these to the PCOS question that you asked.
Yeah.
So I think for me, the first step was one, obviously, when I was diagnosed with PCOS, the first thing was to, okay, now you have to manage your weight, right? I used to play a lot of sports. I was into basketball heavily,
Yeah.
but academics, I sort of dropped that also. And so after that, what happened was, first you're managing food. We went to 100 dietitians and 100 diets they give us, and my mother was fed up after a point. Um, College also, now when I stepped into first semester of college, you're eating all kinds of nonsense food, paratha, Maggie,
Whatever
and
you get.
whatever you get, and you're
Yeah.
just trying to survive through college. But what I think, if I was to just jot down a couple of things that what really helped me and continue to help me to this date, one would definitely be some form of physical exercise, whatever it is. It can be as simple as getting up in the morning and doing a 15-minute stretching routine. It can be just taking a walk in the park. But something that where your body is actually movement. There's some movement that you're forcing your body to do. And when I use the word forcing, because initially it is a lot of forcing, it doesn't come naturally. Sometimes you have to force the body into it. But the kind of endorphins that are released in that process, I find it very meditative. For me, like, I go to the gym a lot. I started gymming quite a bit. So for me, gymming is it's a meditative process. So people get surprised when I tell them that I listen to the most slowest songs when I gym a lot of times. I even listen to a lot of Sufi and a lot of meditative tracks when I'm working out, because for me it is that space of complete zoning out, and this is my time. So that's one thing for sure, because also in your physical strength, you eventually start understanding what you're capable of. Yesterday you're lifting 15 kilos, today you're lifting 20 kilos. So you see progress, and the kind of feeling that it brings inside, that kind of joy, is unparalleled. So that's definitely one thing. The second thing I think would be just becoming a little, not extreme, but conscious about nutrition. So I went down again a very very negative path in terms of my nutrition,
Negative
and
path.
you know about this because you've ticked me off multiple times about it. So you know about it.
But you have to share it now.
Yes, I have to share it because I know that you and Ma had multiple conversations of how fed up you were, because I had stopped eating. I used to have half of what I did. I had stopped having aloo. I would sit and watch my mother cook in the kitchen like this and see how much oil she's putting. We would have a fight every single day. Every single day we would just be fighting.
In early stages, you said that you had, this bullying that you kind of faced in school. College is another step.
Yeah.
You don't even know the kind of friends you're going to make in college. The people are all unknown to you. So did you feel or experience something like bullying also in college, or by that time you had kind of become brave enough to handle all these things?
So by God's grace, because my acne and a lot of things started at an earlier stage, by the time I reached college, some of it had cleared up, because after all the 100 creams and ointments and God knows whatnot, I stopped using everything. And that actually just worked. Just not doing anything.
Not taking care of
Not doing
yourself.
anything. No, not taking care. Like, just probably just doing a simple face wash and a sunscreen. Like that just apparently helped. Like not doing anything. My skin probably just needed to breathe after all the, probably the procedures or the creams. Um, so that was a healing stage. College, I think I went to a college where again people were more accepting. Generally there was a lot of
Okay.
more acceptance, there was a lot of more understanding and empathy. I feel I also went to study psychology, so that was there. And mostly the people in my group were girls, so there was
Okay.
no shame or concern or anything. So for me, that kind of space was not there in college. And yes, by the time I reached college, I had toughened up as a girl a lot. I was already quite tough. So even when somebody would say something to me in school, after a point, I started giving it back to them and giving it back quite a bit. But after a certain point, then I realized how to probably manage it very, very smartly. And, really just stay in that moment and let the other person feel that this is not somebody who they can just play around with or just say whatever they want to. Like they will get it back on the face.
The
So,
situation toughened you completely.
yeah, it completely changed me. Absolutely. So
So the acne had gone.
the acne had gone.
I see no weight right now. No weight. It's completely lost. And
Yes.
You look so nice. So, what was your was it like a daily regimen that you followed to keep your skin, your hair, your body, like improving step by step?
So everything was a journey. So I'll take one thing at a time. So
Yeah.
skin, obviously, I've just told you.
Yeah.
Hair, I had beautiful hair growing up. I had curly hair. Obviously, I didn't know how to take care of it. I would just do a shampoo, not even conditioner, nothing. But migraine,
We all used to tell you that nobody has hair like yours because
yeah, and I always wanted to straighten it. And
Yeah.
and
It always
every
is
time
a-
you would just tell me that please go in any parlor and just see. Everybody just
Everybody's
wants
like-
hair like you.
Yeah.
That was a standard line you and Ma used to use. But I think for me, when we were sort of, when I was in that space of migraine and when I got admitted, something changed about my hair right after I came out of the hospital because it was fried. It was completely fried. I don't know what changed it. I don't know what did the thing. But my hair has still not gone back to what it was. I would say it's probably become better because I take care of it differently now. But still there's a certain part of my hair that is still, I know, recovering. So till that's from that space, but it had gotten completely fried. Like it was not the same at all. It was just not the same, and it took a while to come back to it. To probably it was probably all that stress, of those 2 months, and then finally coming to a space of, okay, now you're not giving the exams, okay, now you have PCOS, okay, now this is what. So all of that stress. So hair has also been a journey for me, and I think it still is. And PCOS, one of the symptoms, also results in hair loss because of the hormonal imbalances. So in PCOS, what happens is your male hormone shoots up, right? Hence the excessive body hair, etc.,
Yeah,
and hair
yeah,
loss,
yeah.
excessive hair loss.
Okay.
And then it comes to a point where you take vitamins, you take some sprays, some serums, and it gets controlled. So that was not a very difficult journey for me. Yes, initially because of the sudden change in hair texture, it was a shock, but that was all right. Then I think you also asked me about the weight.
Yes.
You asked me about the weight, which I know has been this big contention, and I know you and Mom have had multiple conversations about it. The first thing that I did when I got diagnosed with PCOS was I went to a dietitian, and my diet was strictly, put down into certain spaces. Though my gynecologist had told me that
Because you were overweight? That's the reason?
yeah, because I was overweight and because I had insulin resistance. So insulin resistance is a precursor to diabetes. So to just prevent that, because that again runs in the family, I had to really control my weight. And so a couple of things. So then I went to the dietitian, and the dietitian gave me a strict diet, and I was following that. So that already accounted to a certain
And how old
level
were
of
you
weight.
at this point when you were seeing a dietitian?
12th. I was actually put on a diet when I was 8 years old, and I found this later. So I found this many years later, probably when I was in college or something, when I was looking through some files. I saw that since I was the age of 8, because I had this issue called a bone age problem. Bone's age is more than my actual age.
Okay.
So bone's density is higher, tendency to gain weight is more, tendency to not grow as tall is also more. So from then only there was this, and my mother was also, she loved cooking. So she was the one, she would go out and see a burger and say, I can make this at home. Come, I'll make it for you at home.
I know.
Right. So our house was also
I think
relatively.
she could smell and tell you the ingredients of the dish.
Yeah, every single thing she know. So all of that she knew. But for me, then from a dietitian, then which went on till school, because then you're more moderated and you're in a protected environment. And college, again, like I told you, you're eating all kinds of nonsense and whatnot, Maggie, paratha, full sugar chai, everything you're having. And I gained weight again. Now comes lockdown, where now every day I'm faced with myself in the mirror with no distractions, with nobody, you're hardly moving out. So now it's just you. And then you start noticing things. Oh, I've gained weight. Oh, I look like this.
Time, 2020.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I look like this. Oh my God. And that's when I started working out. That time, YouTube workouts had become this new fashion.
Oh, absolutely. Everything was online. All videos are put up there.
Everything. Yeah. So there was this YouTuber, Chloe Ting, I still remember. And she had a 4-month spruce up challenge. So I did it. And I came out of it and I stood on the weighing machine and I was 67.5 kilos. I still remember this. And that was 5 kilos more than I was last year. And I said, how do I gain weight after this? And that's when, I don't know, something switched in me. I joined Cult. Cult was online then also. They were doing online sessions. And I just started doing my workouts every day. And that really, really helped my mental space, because I still remember I used to feel a sense of accomplishment after every workout. I used to feel like I've a certain level of positivity. When you read about it, you understand. I mean, in more biological or physiological terms, the body releases endorphins that contribute to a more positive and happy state. So that was a definite booster for me. Like just being able to and seeing that, okay, now I couldn't even do 1 push-up, now I can do 25 in a go.
Mm-hmm.
That shift in physical energy and that shift in seeing your body being able to accomplish and being able to achieve certain things was unparalleled. So for me, that is a no-brainer. Like even today, it's a no-brainer, to feel good. Food is the thing that I struggled with the most. I think that is something that I've struggled with the most, because I think you never know how to do it right, honestly. And I was blessed that I had my mother who was so patient with me, even though we used to keep fighting about it. Like Ma and I used to constantly fight about this.
Mother said no choice.
Yeah, I mean, you would know, because I fought with you equally about this.
Absolutely.
But, it's because kya hota hai ki now I've started working out. Now you have access to all kinds of information. Google, YouTube, and Instagram also. Everything was building up, not as much as it is now, but still it was there. I mean, we're talking about 3 years ago. So somebody tells you don't have potatoes. Somebody tells you don't have this kind of milk. Somebody tells you don't have noodles.
Yeah.
So everything. So now what I did
I've
was
discussed also, all these things, all this information is there, out there completely for us, but everybody is unique.
Yeah.
Everything is not applicable to you. You cannot follow these things. This is good, but you can't follow it to the T, because what suits you may not suit me.
No, and
so you have to listen to your body. You don't have to listen to the symptoms or probably what your body is trying to tell you.
Yeah, and the bigger thing is that you have to do everything in moderation.
Oh, yes.
I went into extremes.
Okay.
So my thing was, nahi khana to nahi khana. So aloo, potatoes out. Roti had come down to 1 roti, 1 sabzi, hard. So I had really cut down. Now my problem was, obviously my body was hungry because I'm working out also and I'm not eating, I'm not fueling myself. That's when my gut symptoms started. So my body, for the first time in my life, I experienced bloating. For the first time, my body rejected any kind of milk. So I suddenly became lactose intolerant. Like today, to this day, I feel nauseous when I have milk. And this is coming from a point where growing up, I used to have 2 glasses of milk twice a day. So all of these things started coming up. And my ma literally was like, can you stop? I've had enough. Because every week I would wake up and say, Ma, this I can't have, sorry. And she'd be like, what do you want me to cook? You don't want me to put oil, you don't want me to do this. Pani mein khana banao. That's what she used to tell me. What do you want me to do? Now, God bless this man. I was scrolling Instagram and I came across this nutritionist. And being a student, for me, the biggest hit was, it was a free consultation. First consultation was free. I said, let's do it. And I took the consultation and we were talking on a video call. And I said, I'm hungry. And I'm eating, I'm still hungry. At night, I want to eat, I'm hungry. I don't know what to do. And he said, eat. I said, but I'll gain weight. He said, no, why are you not eating? He said, you don't need me, just start eating. You're eating 1 roti, have 2, you'll be fine. You don't need me.
He said, you don't need me?
No, he said, you don't need me.
Okay.
He said, please go, you don't need me. I said, okay, I went down to mom. Ma was so happy. She said, consultation delay. She said, I'll give the money. Please go to him. Please go to him.
You listen to someone?
Yeah, please. She's literally told me, she said, please. And 1 week later, I went back to him. I said, listen, I'm too scared I'll put on weight. I will take a month, or I don't know if I did 3 months with him. I said, I will, I need your time and I need your help with this. He said, okay. He did not do anything. He made me make a note with timestamps of what I'm eating at every single time. And he said, all he used to do was, at the end of the day, he used to ask me to write 3 things: how much water I've had, how I'm generally feeling overall, and how hungry I'm feeling. Right? So if I'm feeling bloated, am I still hungry, etc. If I'm feeling hungry, he'd tell me, okay, add 1 more roti here. Okay, add this here. Okay, you've had chana and you've had roti. Okay, maybe add some dahi. Just things to balance out the meal so that you actually feel fuller for longer.
Yeah.
So if you need more carbs, or you need more protein, or you need more fiber, just that balance. He never told me don't have this. In fact, he was the one who encouraged me, saying, have pizza. What is the issue? Have pasta, but have it from a good place. Because you make sure that at least good nutrition is going to your body.
It's well cooked also.
Yeah. So I told him, I said, I love Domino's. He said, no. He said, go to a place that the dough is fresh, that it's good. So I started doing this. My cheat meals would be a salad. So in COVID, we had this thing where everybody would be cooking, for the whole week. And then we would say, okay, one day we'll give a break. Because we all used to also help. And we used to order out. So somebody's having a burger, somebody's having pasta, somebody's having Chinese. And here I'm sitting with my box of salad. That used to be my cheat meal. With him,
that was the cheat meal.
Yeah, that was my cheat meal.
Okay.
To which it translated to having a full pizza by myself with a hot chocolate fudge.
Oh, wow.
So that's how much. Reason being, 2 things he taught me, very important things. 1, your progress is not measured by the number on the scale, but is measured by the inches you lose. Because you're also gaining muscle, especially when you're doing weight training. So the scale will always lie to you. Also, water retention, etc., you'll not be able to tell. Always measure your inches. That's where you'll see actual progress. And that's what he used to make me do every week. I used to check my weight also. And the reason he used to ask me to check my weight, he told me later. He said, because I do want you to drop below a certain level. Knowing you'll stop eating, you'll drop even more. So he said, I just want to make sure that you're not losing unnecessary or excessive weight. And then in terms of inches, I lost quite a bit of inches. While I still remember I'd gone on a trip with my college friends to Jaipur, gorged 2 times on the entire buffet and still lost weight. Just because now my body was not in a constant state of stress. So I trusted that process. So for me, that was the biggest turning point in nutrition. Knowing that, when your body is actually giving you signals for certain things.
Yeah.
So for me, that was it. And you were very happy because I know how upset you were in that with me. But I think that was very valid. I know myself. Now when I look back at it, I also understand that, I could see how helpless Ma also was. Every day she didn't know what to do. Because I was not going to get convinced.
Yeah.
So till date, I bless him for really, because more than anything, he really changed the, path of my life.
Yeah. So what I gathered now is that PCOS, I think the symptoms literally for people who don't know about PCOS are probably the facial hair growth, the weight that you gain, probably menstrual cycle problems, the pain and maybe not happening, maybe delays.
Irregulars,
Those are kind of symptoms which people should catch and go to a doctor to consult further. But now after so much of struggle now at this stage, you still have to fear about PCOS, or your daily lifestyle has controlled it and you're able to handle it well now?
So see, some symptoms are not going to go away. Like you can't get rid of PCOS. That's one thing that I remember my doctor told me. It's not something that's going to go away. You can manage it, but it'll be with you.
Okay.
So something like extreme pain before periods. Like PCOS, I think if I'm not wrong, about 70 to 75% of women who have PCOS experience more pain or more severe cramps than somebody who doesn't have PCOS. So my cramps are very bad. They're very, very bad.
And every month you experience the same similar kind of a thing?
Almost. Migraine is still there. Now I just probably know.
Migraine is another symptom probably.
Yeah.
Another indicator.
Yeah, absolutely. And migraine especially closer to when you're about to get your period.
Yeah.
So I surprisingly never had an issue with irregularities of period. My period was on time mostly. That was not never an issue for me. For me, the substituting or the complementary symptoms were more. So the major symptom was not as much, but the other symptoms were quite.
And they were very harsh on you.
Yeah, very harsh. So
very harsh.
Still there. Still some things are there. It's not like it's gone. But the awareness of it, then you also know how to manage it. You also know what helps. You also know when to ask for help. And sometimes, see, always a label is not good. But sometimes it's good to know where you fall under. Sometimes it's good to know that there are people like you. Sometimes it's good to know that this is what it is and this what is exactly what you can do to help.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's there, obviously. I mean, I think now, and then it becomes a part of your life. Then now you know that, you keep your workouts regular, you keep your routine regular, and the biggest thing is you get enough sleep. Because it's a hormone imbalance, right? PCOS is essentially a hormone imbalance. The minute you start cutting down on water, on sleep, on sunlight, these basic things that are actually helping your body to regulate its systems, is when again your body will start acting up.
So it's all about balancing at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And physical fitness definitely plays a role in anything for mental health.
Absolutely. Yeah. For me, definitely.
Yeah.
It has. Yeah. So physical fitness has been a beautiful aspect of helping me gain back my confidence also. Like I said, something as simple as the feeling of accomplishment.
Yeah, I've gone through it myself with
Yeah.
weight loss. I know you feel energetic, that's for sure, but you also feel that you've achieved something.
Yeah.
It really helps you boost
Absolutely.
mentally also.
Yeah. I completely enjoy it. And then after a point when you go to a gym, for me, then it becomes I'm somebody who loves meeting people. I'm a very people's person. So for me, saying hello to people, even if I go on a day where I'm feeling a little lower, just going there, sitting, having coffee, and just coming back sometimes makes my day. It's also an expansion of your space. It's also an effort. You're going there. So
Yeah, good.
that's also a good thing for me.
So the bad times also made you have a good time with making
Yeah.
more friends and connecting with more people.
Yeah. Life has its way of taking you to more brighter spaces, and that's what happened.
Absolutely. I think it was really nice. I think a lot of people, a lot of girls, especially your age and younger than you, are combating with PCOD
Yeah.
or PCOS, and
We
there's a
already
lot
know
for them.
somebody in the family also who has it.
My younger
Yeah.
one,
So
Rishita, also has it, and she also faces a lot of these problems. But
yeah.
I think you both have beautifully learned to handle yourself. So
Yeah.
hats off to both
It's
of you.
always good. I think it's always good to also have people around you who are
Oh
aware.
yes, and the support from the family
Yeah.
first and primarily, and then from your friends is like something that is very, very important in it. Because this problem is not only physically that impacts you, it also impacts you mentally and emotionally.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is where the role of your loved ones comes into play. And if they're able to support you and guide your way through, I think
Yeah.
गाड़ी निकल जाएगी.
बिल्कुल निकल जाएगी.
बिल्कुल निकल जाएगी ना. So great. I think thank you so much, Baba, to share all these experiences. I'm sure a lot of people listening to us will know कि किसी के बात कर सकते हो, प्रॉब्लम का solution निकल आएगा.
Yeah.
So girls, I think always remember that our life will throw challenges on us, but it's let us control those challenges rather than challenges controlling our lives here. Let's define our own journey and not let anybody else define it. So now, after all these things, let's have a rapid fire questions.
I was
5
not
questions.
told about this. Just putting it out there.
No, but you have to answer.
But we'll do our
first
best.
thing, whatever first thing comes to your
It's
mind.
okay. It's your show now.
No, it's not a Karan Johar show. So it's my show. Absolutely. Okay, let's now have some fun.
Okay.
It's going to be a rapid fire round.
You have
5
not
questions.
mentioned this to me.
Perfectly fine. But I'm going to play it. Try and play it as well as Karan Johar, but let's see how well I'm able to do
You
it.
played your style.
Okay,
I
I'll
like
do
your
that.
style.
I'll do that. So you can answer anything that comes to your mind first. That's perfectly fine.
That's okay. It's your show. Whatever happens, I mean, on her, not on me.
Okay, if you could describe your wellness journey as a dish, what would that be and why?
Khichdi.
Really?
Because it's a mix of everything. For me, it also be that, that sabzi wala khichdi you get, just a mix of everything. But at the end, it tastes good. The end result is great. When you're making it, you can put anything and everything, but it tastes good. So, khichdi for me.
Oh, I think my kids are going to love it also.
Yes.
What's your favorite quirky way to stay active? Dancing in your living room or a workout in the gym?
I love dancing. So as much as I love working out in the gym, I started dance classes in the gym. So I would say dancing in the gym because I have a beautiful instructor there and I love her. So dancing in the gym.
Okay. We have to talk about food still.
Absolutely. We love food. We are a foodie family.
Absolutely.
Please.
What's your favorite indulgence in food? Even if it's unhealthy, but what's your indulgence?
Everything. I just love food. I can have any cuisine at any time, so I love everything, and desserts
Except momos,
especially.
answer anything.
I'm saying everything. There's no question. If you ask me, probably what I would want to eat right now is
Yeah,
probably a really good New York baked cheesecake. That's what I probably right at this moment when this episode releases, it might change. I'm just putting it out there.
Okay. Okay, describe your perfect self-care day in just 3 words.
Sunlight, um, movement, and music.
Oh, that's beautiful. I like the music bit
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah, because you can do anything, dance, sing, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Who is one Bollywood celebrity you would love to work out with?
Ritik Roshan.
Hrithik Roshan?
Yeah, because I heard that he also likes working out to slow songs. So let's do it.
Wonderful. Actually, now putting you on the spot, but since I know...
Haven't you already?
No. Now I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh God, I'm scared.
So she sings very well. So you have to sing a few lines of your favorite Bollywood song, which probably, at your lowest self motivates you or just inspires you, whatever comes to your mind right now.
This I definitely did not know. Okay. And trust you to do this to me.
Absolutely. Now, since you're here, I have to listen to you.
Of course. Okay, this is all the pent up energy of me not, recording that song and sending it to her. But I think for me, there was this one song. So I had just started going the metro after my exams. First, Mama would make it a point to come and pick me up, but I just started going the metro. And when I would go in the metro, on the headphones, I would listen to this one song during my 12th. And I still remember it. And that's the first song that popped in my mind when you said this. So, and that song goes like this. I don't know how many people watching would know this because it's an older one, but this is how it goes. रुक जाना नहीं तू कहीं हार के घाटों पे चल के मिलेंगे साए बाहर के रुक जाना नहीं तू कहीं हार के घाटों पे चल के मिलेंगे साए बाहर के ओ राही ओ राही ओ राही ओ राही.
That's beautiful. This is one of my favorite songs actually also.
Yeah, I mean, you're my Masi. We have to have some similarities after all.
Absolutely. So thank you so much everyone for listening today, and thank you Baba, thank you so much for sharing all this with me. Love you so much.
Lots of love always.
So I hope Kaaveri's story reminds you that every small step that we take towards ourselves builds our resilience. Are we able to fight out every day and come out victorious, and nothing can stop us. You just have to be a little determined in doing certain things. So till next time, stay strong and take care of yourself. But the ending of my podcast is always with my favorite lines of a Bollywood song, which I don't sing because I'm not a good singer. So I'm just going to read those lines from my favorite song, Aashaएं. लेकर सूरज से आग आग गाए जा अपने राग राग कुछ ऐसा करके दिखा खुद खुश हो जाए खुदा आशाएं खिले दिल की उम्मीदें हंसे दिल की अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी. Thank you so much.